Okay, we're here with Eric Fine from Patriot Law Firm. We're doing a whole series on many issues that can change your life overnight. Drug charges, DUI, assaults, probation violations, domestic violence, and more. So Eric is here because he is a military veteran, a former law enforcement officer, and now works in the legal field, protecting rights for people who come to him for help. So we're going to dive into the topic of sex crimes. This is a big topic.
Big.
Everything we've talked about has been a big topic, but this is a really big one. So
this is really big. Yeah.
Let's talk about this specifically in Alabama. Maybe kind of an overall, what is it like to be charged with a sex crime in Alabama? And then also, what is a sex crime in Alabama? What kind of offenses are we talking about?
So I'm glad that you started with, this being a big topic. And yeah, they're all big topics, but this one especially. Mm-hmm. And it always has been, and I believe it always will. Now, the first thing I want to say is not all lawyers handle sex crime defense. Okay? It is not something that I woke up one morning and said, you know what? I think I'm just going to go defend rapists or people charged with rape, allegedly, or child porn.
Sure.
These kinds of real visceral crimes that when you hear, I mean, who could be pro child porn?
Yeah.
No one.
No.
Okay? No one.
No.
But I defend principles, not just people. Mm-hmm. And there are principles of fairness and due process in the law, and people deserve and should have a fair, vigorous, and proper defense. That is their constitutional right. And I fought for that Constitution when I served my country in the Navy.
Right.
I helped enforce and protect those constitutional guarantees when I was a police officer, and now as a criminal defense lawyer, I uphold those. And I see to it that, look, I didn't go to Hogwarts School of Law. I can't take a wand and flick and swish and make charges go away, especially these kinds of charges.
Right.
But what I can do is I can use the law and criminal procedure and defend people and give them the very best defense. When we're talking about the kinds of crimes in Alabama's laws about sex crimes, first of all, I want to say this. Alabama has the toughest sex offense laws in the nation.
Really?
Period, full stop. Okay? Alabama has something called SORNA, all right? Sex Offender Registration and Notification Act. Take a gander at SORNA and 36 pages. It's a 36-page law.
Wow.
And it covers everything from, rape first, rape second, sexual abuse of a child under 12, sexual abuse first, sexual torture, all of these things that just, the hairs on your neck stand up, okay?
Yeah.
Especially when we're dealing with crimes where people have been alleged to have abused children or people not capable of defending themselves. So not every lawyer is built for this.
Right.
All right? How I sleep at night is I know that, look, I'm defending principles, not people, because I can't change facts. But these people still need and deserve to have a vigorous and proper defense and not just something that's novel. So when we talk about sex crimes, we're talking about everything from producing child pornography, producing, disseminating child pornography, sexual abuse, not just of children, but of people. If you look in Chapter 6 of Title 13A, that's where it's going to cover offenses involving the person, and then you're going to see a myriad of crimes that are capable and could be considered sex crimes, okay, up to and including, flashing and mooning somebody.
Yeah.
Where there are serious consequences that can happen because SORNA is for life. It's for the rest of your life. Meaning if you're convicted of a sex offense or plead guilty to a sex offense, SORNA and is baked into the cake, which means on top of prison and prison and probation, if convicted, because I got to tell you, 99.9 times out of 100, if you're convicted, you're going south. You're going to prison. Okay? It's just a matter of for how long and under what charge. But SORNA, Sex Offender Registration Notification Act, will last forever. And that means things like 4 times a year, which means every 3 months and in the month of your birthday, you have to go down to either the chief of police where you're living or the sheriff, and sometimes both, and register, which means you have to say, here's where I live, here's my phone number, my email address, sometimes my password to Google, whatever. You're accounted for. Okay? Sometimes based on what kind of offense you have pled guilty or you have been found guilty of, it's just registration where you register, and that's in your birth month and then every 3 months thereafter. If you fail to do that, that's a C felony, a SORNA violation, a year and a day to 10 years, just for not showing up.
Wow.
Okay? Serious.
Yeah.
Then you've got notification, where there are some offenses where if you're convicted of or you plead guilty to, that means that your neighborhood in an area is going to receive a flyer from the sheriff as to, at this address is this person who was convicted of or pled guilty to this offense. And you're going to be up on a website forever. Okay? They don't mess around. No. And right now there's also movement afoot to make some sex offenses involving children punishable by death.
My goodness.
Capital. Okay? So, Alabama is not playing around when it comes to dealing with sex crimes and pursuing convictions for sex crimes.
Yeah.
Because no one is for it. No one could be for it. So it's also one of those taboo offenses. I mean, some people may argue and say, well, no one's dead. But are they?
Yeah.
Are they dead inside? It's a child.
Yeah.
Or you ruin this woman
or
this man, for life.
The psychological damage.
How do you measure that? You don't. And it looks like Alabama's going to meet that with commensurate authority.
Well,
serious stuff. And the thing is, if you are accused, if you get a knock on your door or you get a phone call from an investigator, I cannot stress enough, you be polite, be a gentleman, be a lady, not a jerk, don't resist arrest. Do not give any statement at all. Period, full stop. Shut up and lawyer up. Because this is, I'm telling you, when I was in the police academy, and they taught us, be nice, you're selling prison. The law enforcement, when they're investigating a sex crime, they're not your friend.
No.
Okay? You have a duty to behave in a proper manner, but you have no obligation to give information, especially information against yourself. Again, do not resist arrest, make no statements, be polite, be a lady, be a gentleman, but I need a phone call ASAP immediatly, because there are certain things that we have to do and start on. Among those, look, you're going to lose your job.
Yeah.
You're going to be on Facebook. You're going to be on the news. It's going to be it is an absolute free for all.
Yep.
And it is nothing to be trifled with, because every case I've seen, somebody that was accused, whether they were convicted in the end or acquitted, their life was literally ruined from that very first moment.
From the accusation.
Immediate. And sometimes it's the mere whiff of impropriety is just enough because everybody hates you. And the only thing that stands between the government and my client is me.
So
and I do have extensive training and trial in dealing with these cases, okay? It's not every lawyer's cup of tea.
Right.
And again, I don't go out seeking that. Right. But if I ever could fashion or imagine somebody in this world at this time that needs a lawyer more than anything, it's with this.
Okay. Yeah.
This is a no fooling problem.
How have you seen the accusation affect people's lives?
Well, the minute that someone's accused, all right, and it comes out, they're losing their job, their neighbors are posted on Facebook, okay? So when they lose their job, try getting a job when they do a background investigation and they find out, oh, you've been charged with disseminating child pornography, which may have happened as an accident when you hit a button.
Right.
Okay? And, some pirated cache of photos ends up in, look, this happens.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not saying that that's the built-in defense because, trust me, they're able to go back and look, but it can happen.
Yeah.
Your life is ruined at that point.
Yeah.
You, like you said, you're in total damage control at this point. You're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your friends. No one's going to want to be around you. No one's going to believe you. You should see what happens when they come up in court. When my clients come up in court, and you could feel the knives in our backs as this is happening. It's almost like the judges speak a little bit louder about you're charged with sodomy first degree of child under 12. I mean, how do you prepare yourself to even hear that?
I don't know.
I don't either, but I deal with it every day, and I got to tell you, this is the biggest. When you defend these kinds of cases and you defend it right, as I pride myself on, I get a lot of calls on this to do this, to defend this, because I know how to do it.
Yeah.
Because this is not like a domestic violence or a DUI defense.
Right.
I mean, this is. It's going to involve DHR, Department of Human Resources, child advocacy centers, forensic interviews, okay? And you can't, in a trial, sit there and a cutting cross-examination that eviscerates a 10-year-old victim.
No.
There are certain ways that you have to know how to handle it, certain juries that you have to know how to pick, okay? Through a process called voir dire. And I don't like to look at it as jury selection, it's jury deselection.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay? So there is an art and a science to that and a skill to that.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you now, hear me now, believe me later, if you're finding yourself in a situation where you've been charged with a sex crime, I can almost guarantee that district attorney has dotted their I's and crossed their T's. And have left no stone unturned. If you can't have a tax lawyer represent you on this, okay? You need an experience, and it's just not necessarily an experienced lawyer, experienced with these kinds of offenses.
Yeah.
And I happen to be experienced with defending this because it is an entirely different approach in many regards.
Yeah.
And the fallout, the outcome, it's forever. And I mean, you want to talk about a tense trial environment. They don't get more intense than that. They don't get intense. They're more intense than a murder.
Oh. I could see that because
you know what?
There's an innocent victim involved somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like living that death, and they're, living through that experience.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you can't victim bash. And there's rules of evidence that prohibit a lawyer from bringing up, let's say in an accusation of rape, except under very stringent, specific, strict legal guidelines, the sexual history of a victim, okay? And I've also seen the other side of it, where people who were completely, not just not guilty, innocent of these charges, that fell victim to an ugly divorce that was going on, and was like, well, this is the best way to make sure that you don't get to see these kids and I get to keep them, because I'm just going to start that. I've seen it, and this is real. Okay, and the emotions are raw. So this is a really big deal.
So I feel like the answer to this is obvious, but if someone is accused or they're under investigation, first steps they should take are what?
Shut up and lawyer up. Be a lady, be a gentleman, not a jerk, do not resist arrest. I need a phone call immediately. Okay, you call me immediately. Me as your lawyer, we need to not be led around. We need to control the course of this vigorously and properly. Okay, now it could be a situation where really and truly they got the goods against you. Okay, all right? So now we shift to a mitigation kind of defense. Perhaps it's something like a mental health issue. There are certain things that I can do in the immediate onset of allegations like this that will pay tremendously huge dividends on the other end.
Yeah.
So there's always, always work to be done. I need to start marshaling prior police reports. I need to start getting DHR reports if there are reports available. I need background information. I need a lot of things, and I got to get, that's why I have an office staff too. We get right on this. These are red ball emergencies.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, again, I said this at the beginning, but a big topic, a very weighty topic.
Very.
Eric has said this a couple of times, but if you're being charged with a sex crime, that is not something that just any attorney can handle.
No. No.
You need someone who specializes in this kind of thing, who knows what they're doing. Go ahead.
No, yeah, who knows what we're doing, as far as, specializing, I think what I've done is I've been able, through my continued legal education, I see these issues come up, and because of their complexity and because of the potential of, horrible, lifelong consequences, I felt it imperative for me to learn all I could about properly defending and using proper strategy and using proper motions and proper legal procedures in order to provide the very best defense that I can, because of the stigma, the taboo that comes with these offenses. All you have to say is this person's child was charged with sodomy first of a child under 12.
Yeah.
Who can be for that? No one.
Nobody.
Okay? And people's instincts are they just need to be taken out and shot. Okay? And I'm not saying that I don't have those same type of visceral feelings. I'm a grandfather. Okay? Yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
But you've got to wade through the mire, and you've got to get to the legal issues at hand. I have a job, and my job, my profession, my calling is I defend principles, not just people. And these principles involve due process of law, and that every person stands cloaked in the presumption of innocence until they are proven guilty in a court of law. And I fought for that for my country. I enforce that as a police officer, and I practice it every day as a lawyer.
Yeah. What better person to have on your side if you're in a situation like this?
I like to think,
give Eric a call if you need someone on your side. For anything related to the series we've been talking about, we've discussed DUIs, we've discussed drug charges, assault charges, several different things. Today's topic was sex crime allegations. Don't hesitate. He's saying call as soon as something happens. Get him in there as quickly as possible. Patriot Law Firm is where you want to go. Eric Fine, thanks for joining us, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, and I've enjoyed it. Thank you very much.